Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Buy up, buy up. Let's get to the intro. Welcome back to Gunners Collective TV. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure that you do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that I stay kicking. And I appreciate the support. I'm very humbled by it. So what in the Liver King is going on? What in the Neanderthal hiding in the middle of a forest is happening, right? So for those of you that don't know, and I'm sure you probably already do because my boy John Bravo and Bubba have knocked out notorious videos concerning this situation, right? The Liver King, who's known for his Netflix special as well as being a content creator on social media, a YouTuber, went on the hunt. He went on the hunt for a big old bag of scante, and then he went on the hunt for Joe Rogan. This guy ate too many spleens. Because I'm going to tell you guys right now, man, this shit is baffling everyone. What was this guy's motivation behind making threats to Joe Rogan? Now, let's break it down because I got a little inside information. So we're going to do it like this. For those of you that don't know, Liver King was arrested and the charges are making threats to Joe Rogan, the famous podcaster. Now, I don't know anyone in the world who doesn't like Joe Rogan, besides a couple of liberals that are upset that he fucking, endorsed Trump. Other than that, there's not a lot of people on this planet that dislike or could disagree with Joe Rogan when it comes to certain topics. He's the number one podcaster in the world. He's the Howard Stern of this generation. And the one thing that people like about Joe Rogan is he's no nonsense. He says his shit, he speaks his mind, and he'll kick your fucking whole head off your shoulder bone. That's what people like about Joe Rogan. He's a serious man doing serious things, covering serious topics, and sometimes outlandish topics, shit that we didn't even know existed, right? I do appreciate Joe Rogan for being the podcaster he is, being creative, informational. I fuck with his shit. Now, the Liver King, on the other hand, any man in the forest on trend eating dead rabbits and livers, I'm good. Just not my, I don't know. My palate couldn't do a spleen or two. It doesn't work for me, right? I need shit cooked. Okay, I'll go about as far as sushi, but that's it. But when I got a guy eating deer hearts on a live, I don't care what he says. And oh man, I got off my neck. See that vein in my neck? That's because I ate a fucking esophagus from a lamb, right? I'm cool. I'm cool with that. You could see that the Liver King was a little bit J-Caddish, but at the same time, he had his own lane. He was doing his thing. He was actually blowing up for a while. Now, the Liver King started to decline. He started to decline when it was realized and when it was exposed that it wasn't just the hearts, the spleens, and the pancreases that were fucking helping him get the size that he was, but it was actually that same old shit that Wes Watson's on, right? And it's called, I'll let you figure it out, right? Because I don't want to get fucking in trouble for saying something I don't know about. But I think we all know, man, there was some extracurricular poking activities going on in his shoulder and his buttocks. That's just what it was, right? When he was exposed, a lot of different people took to social media and talked about it. Well, one of the persons who discussed it on his channel didn't know the man from a bowl of fucking Uncle Ben's rice, but he discussed it, was Joe Rogan, which he has every right to. When you become a public figure or someone on social media, everybody that has a channel, you're open for discussion. You're a topic. If something goes on with you, someone could speak on it. Now, Joe Rogan, did a video, did a podcast where the Liver King was discussed, and he asked about him because he was interested. Who wouldn't be interested with a caveman living out in the middle of nowhere, right? Fucking skinning anacondas and running around buck naked eating deer heart. I mean, shit, it's a little intriguing to understand, what kind of drugs, at least at the very minimum, this guy is on. And that's kind of what Joe Rogan did. Now, for whatever reason, when this exposing thing happened to the Liver King, he started to decline. You can see he started to decline physically, mentally, And he was in a challenge with his own self, right? With his pride, with his ego, and even more so than that, with his mental state. You started to see him deteriorate. He disappeared for a while, came back on social media, tried to disprove the fact that it wasn't due to eating pig ass. And that's why he wasn't big, right? He tried to explain to everyone, man, if you dig deep enough inside an elk, there's one thing that you could reach in and grab, and that's like the fountain of youth right there. No one believed him. After him being exposed, and I mean, you can pretty much tell when someone's on, any type of narcotic, someone's on any type of boost, whether it be tren or anything else, you can kind of tell their attitude, their voice, the fucking mole growing out of their arm, Wes, right? Just the different things that happen, physically and mentally. They have road rage and they're not even driving. The motherfuckers start fucking, they start going crazy. Liver King was on that track. So with this happening, him being exposed and losing his lane, I could understand the mental breakdown. We just seen something happen in Las Vegas. We just seen Sin City Manny Wise kill, shoot, and it's not allegedly, it's on camera, right? Shoot, Finney the Legend and his wife due to a mental breakdown, what it seems like a mental breakdown from being what he considered cyber bullied or antagonized, or his whole life torn apart due to the trolling that was going on, and the basically onslaught of people consistently speaking on his name and disrespecting him. That could fuck someone's mental up. They've done it to me. Hasn't messed my mental up yet, right? I'm as mental as I've always been. If anything, they increased my shit, right? Liver King should have been on that. But anyways, for whatever reason, we see what Sin City Manny did, right? He definitely fumbled the ball and went in for the kill. Unfortunately, 2 people lost their lives, and him and his family will deal with his repercussions accordingly. Basically, he lost his life too, right? Why is my eye all lazy today? Ever since I've been shot in the back of the head, my eye's always been lazy. You see that? It's just what it is. I can't help it. Oh, Gunner never got shot in the back of the head. Yeah, well, explain this, bitch. You know what I mean? That's what I tell all the trolls that hate on me. But I'll say this. The Liver King was arrested. Now, he made threats towards Joe Rogan that Joe Rogan didn't see coming. But I could see that what happened was he focused his attention on Joe Rogan because of his decline and because his mental was fading because of whatever fucking it looked like he was on. Now, I know a lot of people like to say, oh, it looked like he was on meth. It does. That scraggly ass beard. When I seen his beard, it made me want to shave mine. That's how bad his shit was, right? That Vato looked like a caveman. I'll have the roasted duck with the mango salsa, right? That Vato, if I seen him up in the mountains ripping a deer's heart out, I swear to you guys, right now, I would think I seen Bigfoot. He looked like Bigfoot, only way shorter. That dude looked like he was going through some things. His emotions were twisted, right? And so in his mind, in his crazy mind, because I think Joe Rogan had the biggest podcast, probably gained the most attention in, exposing him. And again, Joe Rogan didn't take it upon himself to expose this guy. His name was just brought up and they talked about it. They discussed it like Joe Rogan does. Joe Rogan's not into exposing people other than if your name is Carlos Mencia and you steal jokes. We're going to get to that right now. But this guy, for some reason or whatever reason, he targeted Joe Rogan and decided to hunt him. Okay, and that's literally what it was because that's all that guy knows how to do. That's what he's famous for. So that and being big for nothing. So he was hunting Joe Rogan and he made a nefarious video, a controversial video where he stated that he wanted to fight Joe Rogan. Now, do we take that as a serious threat on YouTube when people say that? Because there's a lot of people that do that. Hey, pull up, man. I'm trying to catch that one-on-one. I'm trying to catch that fade. I'm trying to do, and most of them are non-credible. They don't even have their picture next to their face, their face, next to their name. So we don't care. We shine it on. It's like, whatever, bro. I'm man enough to know, man, that, I'm not going to get caught up behind some bullshit fucking fantasy you have of wanting to lick my earlobe. I'm good, bro. That's on you. That's something you're going to have to deal with internally, right? Or externally with your boyfriend. Either way, that's on you, homie, right? See, in Joe Rogan's case, he's a very popular figure. He's a figure that I'm sure gets consistent threats or people that talk shit about him because they don't care for his reasoning behind something or another. Now, I don't think there's a person on earth that should hate Joe Rogan because he's a cool ass dude. I've never met him in real life besides what I know about him, right? But he's a good dude. So for whatever reason, this dude, the Liver King, targeted him, and he made threats. And these threats were brought back to Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan took them serious. You know, when there's a maniac, you know, the size of a bulldozer with a needle stuck in his ass and fucking lemur blood running down his throat, you know, his front of his mouth, you got to take that. Something's wrong there. You know, and everyone has witnessed the decline of the Liver King. He said some pretty crazy things. He was pretty upset when he was exposed, you know, that his trap wasn't real. You know, when you don't got traps that aren't real, that could hurt a man's heart. I'm good. They're not that big, but they're there, right? And they're mine. You know, this guy got exposed for all kinds of different things, and some took it as credit. Look, to me, I didn't care. Expose who? What? Some fucking dude with a big old beard and a needle in his ass? What's that going to do for me? I don't care. He's not in my genre, right? But the thing is that he did take it seriously. He did feel the wrath of everyone speaking on him and talking about him. That could fuck you up mentally, man. You know, when you got a lot of different people testing your ability of truth, clowning you, talking shit about you, disrespecting you, making memes about you, then you definitely could snap. And he snapped into a Slim Jim like Macho Man, right? And him and Macho Man had a lot in common. You know, the beard, the eating of raw meat, and all kinds of different shit. But anyways, I digress. This dude lost it and initiated a challenge to Joe Rogan. And I believe he initiated the challenge because he felt Joe Rogan, having the biggest platform, was responsible for his demise. In his mind, this is what I think he thought. You know, Joe Rogan, man, he spoke on me. Let's catch them one-on-ones. And it didn't say he was necessarily going to kill Joe Rogan or shoot Joe Rogan or stab Joe Rogan, you know, or karate kick Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan was going to karate kick him, but he didn't say none of that. He wanted the one-on-one fade. And he wasn't going to take no for an answer. And I think that's where it got a little too much for Joe Rogan. I think that's when they got a little suspicious, and Joe Rogan took the threat seriously. It got very serious when this man says, I'm pulling up, I'm going to find you. I want that one-on-one. There ain't nothing you can do about it. We need that. I need that. Joe Rogan said, wait up, hold up. Doesn't this motherfucker eat squirrel? Yeah, I mean, raw? I'm cool. Joe Rogan's like, a squirrel's good from time to time, but a raw motherfucker? Wasn't this motherfucker on Faces of Death eat monkeys? I'm good, right? He didn't want that smoke. So Joe Rogan did what he should do as a civilian. He contacted the authorities. Now there's some people, oh, he ratted on this dude, man. Listen, man, he's on a different level than everyone else, right? Oh, Adam 22 could do it, and people still support him. Joe Rogan gonna call the cops. You fucking threaten him or talk about pulling up to his pad or disrespecting him, and if he takes that threat credible, I'm sure he's gonna do the honest thing, and that's utilize law enforcement to do their job. And that's exactly what he did. And they tracked this man down to he was in Austin, Texas, at a hotel, which, if you all know, and knowing is half the battle, G.I. Joe said it, right? That's an area in Texas where Joe Rogan frequents, and Joe Rogan lives in Texas, right? So this dude literally pulled up. He was in Austin at a hotel when he was arrested, escorted out, wearing a rather tight burgundy jumpsuit, a hoodie over his head, and a man pouch, right? And he looked like he was definitely under the influence of either adrenaline, narcotics, tren, or gazelle meat. I don't know, right? But he was definitely trying to get at Joe Rogan. Now he's being charged with, of course, terrorist threats against another man. He didn't physically assault Joe Rogan, so he's not going to do forever. But they need to get that man some help. That man definitely needs to be talked to by a counselor, a physician, a psychologist, his bunkie. I mean, somebody, whoever can get to him. Dr. Phil, catch him inside. How about that? Dr. Phil, pull up. Because he definitely needs help. Because when you target someone that's not even directly involved with what you got going on, you got problems. And maybe it's just him trying to get relevant again and make some noise. See, a lot of people do that. Damn, man, I fell off. I was bubbling, and that fame, that stardom, that all that, it becomes addicting, man. It's a drug, right? And you just need to have it. So what's the biggest thing he could do? Well, if he threatens Joe Rogan and pulls up and all this and makes a big old scene, that combined with who he is and that fucking amazing beard that he has, right? And that orangish tan, and like I said, possum blood all over his back, maybe, just maybe, he could fucking be relevant again. And he got exactly what he wanted, only via the county jail. So he's in the county jail. He bails out. I'm sure it's not a big bail. And he's going to do what he does. Now, is Joe Rogan concerned? I'm sure. But I think Joe Rogan needs to be more concerned with Carlos Mencia than fucking the Liver King. And for those of you that don't know that story, that is the one person that Joe Rogan did expose. If you guys remember, Carlos Mencia was, one of the most famous comedians on the planet for a minute, man. He was the next George Lopez. He was the Timu version of George Lopez. He was doing his thing. And he said some jokes. And at that time, Joe Rogan was, Joe Rogan's comedian / kickboxer / karate kid / fucking UFC announcer / fucking he'll beat your ass if he wants to / not eating deer meat. But, that's him. And Joe Rogan was doing comedy at the time, and he exposed Carlos Mencia for stealing jokes. It was credible. A lot of people noticed that. Carlos Mencia's stock went caca, right? That wasn't a good fart. It went like that. It was gone. That was it. Next thing you know, he pops up 20 years later on Vlad TV, like two of himself, plea bargaining, right? But it's already too late for Carlos, unfortunately. He can live off the royalties of that one movie where the black chick marries his daughter, and he's all upset about it, right? That's it. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes. But you would think he would have more of an issue with Joe Rogan than some fucking dude eating, like I said, Outback Deer House, But that's not the way it is. What it really is sometimes people are stronger mentally. And I think, Carlos Mencia did have a breakdown, and then which he put out there publicly. He was in a bad place. He did not care for Joe Rogan. I'm sure he doesn't to this day, but he never threatened him or made it. Well, of course. And look, most people won't. Joe Rogan's a black belt in fucking whatever, right? I think it's jiu-jitsu, kickboxing. He'll fuck you up 9 times out of 10, right? You got to sneak him or snake him, which is exactly what the Liver King was trying to do, allegedly. Now, I see a lot of content creators making videos on this. This is just my perspective on it. This is just my little 2 cents, right? You could pay me, never mind, or pay me, either way. But I will say that this is a perfect segue into mental health issues. People need to really watch what's going on around them. And if you see someone in the decline, man, don't report it, but support it, right? Support them, help them, man. Make them smile, give them a hug or something. Do something, because when you see someone's mental breaking down, your interpretation of what they're going through is not theirs. Okay. They think they're normal. They think you're fucking up, right? And you got to recognize that and help. And everyone needs to help, man. If you have anyone in your family that's going through a decline, help. This is a big issue. Joe Rogan, imagine if we had lost Joe Rogan by the Liver King. That would have been pretty upsetting to a lot of Americans, a lot of people that support Joe Rogan. I consistently watch his content. I think it's good for the generation. I think he gives a lot of game, or he brings on people that give a lot of game. It's very appealing and it's very educational. Now, Liver King, on the other hand, if you want to see a big old fucking swole wildebeest eating a raw wildebeest, then that's up to you. I didn't, to some it's educational, because he was trying to convince people that eating raw meat was going to help you fucking maintain and live forever. Me, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I'll go at 65 and I'll be good with it. I'm just saying. Anyways, with that being said, that's the latest news, man. Joe Rogan is concerned. And I'm sure Joe Rogan will probably do a video on it. And he's more concerned with the fact that this dude was actually stalking him, because that's what it was. And just took it upon himself to target Joe Rogan. Why? Why Joe Rogan out of everyone else? There's a lot of people that talk shit. I better watch. He might target me next. I'll grab him by his fucking beard and throw him somewhere. I'm not tripping, right? Allegedly. But what I'm saying is, Joe Rogan, I'm sure gets these, but this one was real. I believe that if the Liver King would have seen him, he would have tried to do something to him. He fixated on this man, and again, like I said, there's 2 reasons. Either his mental just broke down all the way. It looked like he was on a 7-day run, brother. I mean, I seen a wood like him one time, looked just like him. He was like, brother, I've been up for 9 days. I said, you're lying. You're right. It's 11 days, right? He was just fucked up. So anyways, that's the latest on that, man. With that being said, thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly and honestly believe in, and that's the betterment of all people. Again, realize this, man. It's a mental issue. And if you see anyone going through a crisis like that in your family, around you, your friends, or even in society, just communities or whatever, right? Pay attention, because awareness is key. I was taught that in prison. I was taught that outside of prison, right? If you're not aware of what surrounds you or what's going on directly in front of you, then you could be unaware that quick. The gun, bang, bang.